Well, here we go again. You know, I'm sorry. Ken Paxton. I just can't really be behind you on these bills that are you keep pushing out on there. I mean, you put the attack on the adult industry. Because of the age assurance, not verification. I'm not calling it verification. It's age assurance because they're going to change that. Eventually down the line, they're going to change the language of that. Already out there, there's been, if you didn't watch our video last week on North Dakota, they're changing the language on there from health crisis to health hazard from the porn industry. And see, this is where you begin to see through the cracks of what they're thinking to do. Because all it is, it's censorship, control of the products online, telling you what you cannot buy. I mean, right now, we have this story coming out. The United Kingdom is banning certain swords, ninja swords and stuff like that, it's like ridiculous because, it's not going to stop crime. You had a murder, yes. The situation is, why was the person murdered? It was a mistaken identity. But what was in the person's mind thinking to murder this person? So you got to go after the person. And that's the thing that, and I'll say this here, the UK is pussying out on, to that situation. Of course, also, there was that bill that they were trying to pass that may have blocked anime and manga, which I'll tell you honestly, we'll probably discuss a little bit on this with the return of Otaku Thursday, which is coming back in April, folks. Don't worry. That basically it's not going to, because the Supreme Court has already ruled on this. Whatever bill that Texas puts out, it's just going to get slammed by the Supreme Court as being unconstitutional. Like this law is probably going to end up in the Supreme Court as being unconstitutional because now they're going to ask ID to buy sex toys.
Party pooper, party pooper.
Yeah, I can't make this shit up. Really. I mean, and think about it, and they're going to say, well, we don't want kids buying sex toys. I said, how many kids are going out to buy sex toys in cause some of them are available in Walmart and in some pharmacies, anywhere it has a pharmacy has on there. How many of them gone into these lingerie shops to buy them? I've never heard of that.
Tube of toothpaste and box of Titans.
Toothpaste and what?
Box of Titans.
You have to speak up, George.
Titans. I want a box of Titan condoms.
George! And to think you were an altar boy.
Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me in the comments. But the thing about it is that they're looking at what's obscene. Obscenity. This is why I tell you, it's obscenity. This makes, they're obscene for these sex toys and stuff like that. This is something private. This is something that, I don't want, if I have one, I don't want people to know I have one. That's not anybody's business. I don't have one. Don't worry, folks. I don't. But the thing about it is that, slowly you're just taking the rights away. What's next? You're gonna go after, like I said, the swords, knives, and stuff like that. You're gonna go after what we read, books and stuff like that. This is the point where you got to be careful because basically you're violating the Constitution. Why would I have to show an ID to buy this? This is not cigarettes. This is not alcohol. Okay? Like I said, there's no big... What research have you done? Have you done any research to find out, is this a thing? But before we read this video out of AVM, once again, thank you for subscribing, all of you out there. It's really important. If you haven't yet, hopefully today on this subject matter, I've earned your subscription. It's just a quick hit. It does help us. It helps support this channel, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Rumble. We really do appreciate it. And don't forget, drop a like, comment, and, share this video, because people should be hearing this. This is some of the stuff that I put on this channel. We try to bring videos to you of things that are going on that most other YouTubers are not talking about. You're going to hear stories like this. I mean, sometimes we'll bring in like the New York stories, something you might have heard a couple of times on there, but stuff like this, you're not getting the full spectrum out there from the mainstream media. And it's a pleasure to bring this to you. This is stuff that, we talked about in my old days on public access television. We try to bring stories out that, the mainstream media isn't talking about, that it's important to you, the consumer, you, the viewer, wherever country you're from, whatever, if you're an American, if you're Japanese, these are important. Because remember, there are other countries like Australia, for example, they try to ban, sex toys, sexy anime figurines and stuff like that. They try to ban it from their country. Now some of it's already flooding back in again. It's our choice. As adults, I don't need this red tape I got to go through to basically buy these items if I want to buy them. It's my choice. It's my choice to buy them. So, from AVN News, Texas bill will require ID for online sex toy purchases. Republican state Angela Paxton, the wife of the far-right Texas Attorney General Paxton, introduced a measure that would require age verification for online sex toys purchases made from local IP addresses in the state digital space. Senator Paxton introduced the measure on March 14th to the whole Senate floor. Senate Bill SB 3003 is an extreme measure compared to the state's controversial age verification law, or age assurance, as I say, that specifically targets adult entertainment platforms. If adopted by the fellow right Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott, SB 3003 would make it a criminal misdemeanor offense if e-commerce websites don't verify the age of sex toy buyers. See, here I got to stop for a moment. If you're trying to verify the age, well, number one, it's the adults who have the credit cards. It's up to the adults to make sure their children are not using it, that they're monitoring what they're buying. And most people, sometimes they don't check it. But, I do check my bills. I do check my credit card bills. I do check my bank line bills to make sure I'm being charged properly. And that's what you should do. If you see something there that you don't identify, ask your family members, did you buy this? Then you would know that's on there. And that's up to the parents. That's the parents' job to do, not government. A person commits an offense if, with criminal negligence, the person sells or delivers an obscene device online, reads Senator Paxton's current legislation. A violation of this section is a Class A misdemeanor. A person who violates this section is also subject to a civil penalty of an amount not exceeding $5,000 for each violation. See, here's the other thing about age assurance or verification, however you want to call it. It's not a perfect system because, you still have fake IDs. There are young people who have fake IDs. Remember that. Does it determine that? Does it, the next thing they're going to say, we're going to need visual verification, which that's another rabbit hole in itself. Continuing on, misdemeanor charges will be levied against the companies that fail to comply and even against minors who use documents or fake government ID cards. Age assurance is defined by the bill as a commercially reasonable third-party identity verification providers like Yoti or Incol that use public records or other reliable sources to verify the purchaser's identity and age. Via the language of the bill, Senate Bill 3003 is presented as a measure to protect children from obscene, and again, remember, this is what they say, obscene devices. What are they calling obscene? What are they talking about? If Paxton is successful in her crusade against sex toys, the bill would comply Texas existing law governing the so-called obscene devices. AVN previous noted that the state statute already defines an obscene device to be a device including a dildo, or artificial VJ, designed or marketed as a useful primary for stimulation of human genitalia organs. Sorry, if I say that, YouTube, don't slam me for that. This chapter in the state law highlights the fact that Texas remains one of the only states in the union that has a cap on the number of sex toys what an individual can own. Oh my God. I never knew that. They tell you, you only can have 3. That's it. What is it? Like they tell you with pets. So you can't have more than 2. It is illegal for an individual to own, it's 6 or more. Okay. So own 6 or more sex toys or exhibit an intent to distribute them as if the products were illicit drugs. A pre-filed bill in Texas House Bill 1549 would protect children from viewing what the bill considers to be obscene devices in stores that aren't classified as sexually oriented businesses by state law. The bill would prohibit the sale of such products at virtually every major retailer, including Walmart, Target, CVS, Walgreens, and Kroger. Now, I can understand if some of these products are out in the open to the situation in these stores. It shouldn't be there. It should be in a locked away, preferably closer to the pharmaceutical counter for the pharmacy, which in some places it is. It is closer to the pharmacy counter to the point, because technically that would be a health situation. It would fall into the health category. You could put it on the lock, to the situation. You could put some blinders on the situation, noting what the brand is, the situation. There's so much you do. You can't really tell a retailer what they can or cannot sell. That basically there's laws on that too as well. You can't really say, hey, Walmart, you can't sell this particular product. You can't sell this other product because we just think that children are going to end up buying it. I don't think kids honestly. Like I said, comment below. Let me know. I've never heard a situation where kids are buying it directly in the store. Trust me, going up to a kid, kids have it hard enough trying to buy condoms, in teenagers. You've seen these comedies and stuff like that. They're like, oh, so you want to buy a condom? It's like, you should be happy if they're going to buy a condom to that situation. If they're old enough to have sex, which in a way, should wait a little bit longer. If you're over the age of 17, under 17, wait. I'll tell you honestly, wait. I mean, if you're kissing, what they call make out, first base, that's about as far as you should go. To that situation. And I'll tell you the situation, but that's also those who over 14, I would say, to that point. 14 is just putting a line on there. 15, I would say, yeah, most likely if you're doing first base to that situation. But if you're going into full sex mode, you're rounding all 3 bases and heading for home. You should be more of an adult to that point. You have to take that point, because that's a decision you're making that could impact the rest of your life. You have to always remember that. This comes with pregnancy situation and abortion and all that, and we're not going to discuss that. But still, that brings it to that situation. But the other half of it is, here's where they're going to say sex toys, and they're going to identify other things they're going to consider to there. They're going to probably try to knock on the lingerie. They're probably going to try to knock on the videos themselves, DVDs, Blu-rays, because that's the one thing they haven't done. They're trying to stop it from being seen online, but still, you have the stores. There are, I don't know by you, but by me, yeah, there are a couple out here, like out here in Staten Island, there's like maybe 1 or 2 that I know of. In the city, there are a couple of around Manhattan that are well hidden to that situation. You would think that they're lingerie stores, and we've discussed this before. I think Brooklyn Depot is one of the companies. They're lingerie stores, and they do sell adult videos, they adult content videos. But this is a stretch to the situation. Where do you go from here? I mean, do you start now asking for age verification on R-rated films? Because, you could buy an R-rated film that has sex in it. Are you going to tell Amazon? Are you going to tell Walmart and all the rest of them they can't sell R-rated movies online without a ID? It's up to the adult. It's up to the family. There's, they said, well, we need to put this software out there. Some of it's free. Some of it, I use Bitdefender, which is really, this is not an advertisement for them. But basically, in my system, I use Bitdefender. It's really good. It's not super cheap. You can get a good price on it. They do make family versions of it, which covers about pretty much everything, including blocking certain websites. You're able to do block on certain websites on multiple computers because they have multiple computers. So it's like similar to what some companies have in their systems, whereas you can't access certain websites. And that's the easiest way to go. That's the way to go to that situation. If they're getting around it, the kids, because kids are smart, if they're getting around the programming, you got to sit the kid down. That's the job of the parent. But, in this time and age, we're open to the internet, but you're beginning to close the internet back down again because you find things obscene.
Let me knock on Mr. Noggin. Who could trick us into doing that? Could have been Satan.
There's biology books out there and biology websites and stuff like that, and WebMD. Do you block them if they show pictures of nudity to that situation on there? Do you block that? Because that's what's going to happen. They said, nah, it'll never happen. It will. Of course it will. Of course it will. Artwork, same situation. Yeah, there's art out there by classical artists that basically have nudity in them. They want to block that. I brought this up before, with Marge Simpson on The Simpsons when they did the Itchy and Scratchy band. And the next thing they went after David. And Marge was like, no, that's an art. Kids should be able to see that. And they're like, oh my God, he's naked. And it was like, it's a piece of artwork. It's historical. What's the problem here? He's naked? Okay, that's to that situation. But it's a piece of artwork. It's a piece of history. They just don't, this is the new, and I said this before, this is the new Puritans, that basically they're both on the left and on the right of the, parties to the situation. They're radical lefts, they're radical rights, and, this is the one thing they both do agree on when it comes to obscenity laws. They want to bring us back to a point in history prior to the 1970s. They want to arrest people, put people in jail. Comedic bits that, done by Dave Chappelle. They want to put Dave Chappelle in jail. And for those of you young enough not to remember this, and in my generation remembers, that people like comedian Lenny Bruce and George Carlin were in prison for their comedy bits. If you want to see a great movie about it, Dustin Hoffman plays Lenny Bruce. It's a really great movie. It's a really great movie. And it shows the mentality for that time period. Because we were still, coming out of the Hays Code in Hollywood at that time period because it was deemed unconstitutional. So look at the Constitution. Read the Constitution. Take a moment. Look at it. Understand what is in there. Yeah, they didn't think of pornography back, our forefathers on there, but they wrote it in a way that would protect it. And that's what the Supreme Court, detected when basically this was brought to their court. You can't stifle artistic expression. You can't do that. And that's why the Hays Code failed. That's why it's on there. Now we're in the MPAA era, which that needs to go now. That needs to be in court because of all the things they're doing now in Hollywood, telling you who you can put in your movies, who you can hire in your movies. But you can't do that. It violates law. It violates, when it comes to worker law, all these laws when it deals for, hiring. Basically we don't hire for race, creed, color, handicap. We don't look at those things. We look at merits. We look at experience. Can they bring to the table? Not everyone can be fly an airplane. Not everyone can write a novel. Not everyone can be a brain surgeon. As much as they want that to be where everyone can be whatever they want, you can take the classes, see if you're talented enough. If you're not, don't worry about it. There's plenty of other work out there. That's why we need to get back into manufacturing. People, we used to be great artists, great manufacturers of clothing and cars and machinery and all that, buildings and all that. I mean, we built, not a utopia, but we built cities. We built beautiful cities. Now they're crumbling and no one to properly fix them. Yeah, I went on a little bit of a rant, but the thing about it is this all connects together. There are those out there who just want to control when you to the situation. Here in New York, we have the MTA. They're looking for more money to continue building to the situation. But the money's not going to where it's supposed to do. They just continue using money. And they're not resolving the problems they have. That's why they need a major audit. Meanwhile, the governor's trying to push all these things, with Medicaid, they're like yelling at the Republicans because they say, they want to get rid of your Medicaid and all that. But meanwhile, it's the Democrats, especially here in New York, that is killing the Medicaid by basically working with companies that they're basically in their pockets. Remember that. So let me know in the comments below. What do you think of this law? Do you think that sex toys should have age? If you can buy these on Amazon. You go to Amazon or you go to Adam and Eve and you go to all these other companies. Now they want you to ask for ID to get the product, which is ridiculous. I mean, do you believe it? Do you not? We could end up with another situation again because, there are websites that were hacked. There were adult websites that basically their names were leaked out, their names and information. Do we want that again? No, we don't. So comment, like, share, and hopefully today's the day I've earned your subscription. So until next time, thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye now.